Rising majestically in the heart of Barcelona like a sacred monument to time itself, the Basilica de la Sagrada Família stands tall, unfinished yet immortal. A masterpiece that defies convention, an icon that invites us to question what it means to create something truly eternal. What makes this basilica so captivating? Why has its construction spanned over 140 years? And yet, still, it's not complete. Join us as we explore the intricate details, the awe-inspiring genius, and the raw humanity behind Antoni Gaudi's most famous work. This is the story of the Sagrada Família, a basilica unlike any other, where geometry meets spirituality and faith becomes stone. The first architect of the basilica was Francisco de Paula del Villar. Francisco designed and laid the foundation of the basilica in 1882. Gaudi took over as the lead architect in 1883 and redesigned the basilica to what you see today. From these two designs, you can see the differences in ideology between diocesan architect Francisco de Paula del Villar and Antoni Gaudí. Since then, the basilica has had over 9 lead architects who have made incredible progress to where we are today. Let's start with the most intriguing fact about this iconic structure. It is still unfinished. The basilica, begun in 1882, is still very much a work in progress, with completion projected for 2026, a century since the death of Antoni Gaudí, and that's the beauty of it. For over a century, the Sagrada Família has been steadily growing, evolving, morphing, and adapting to new technologies while staying true to Gaudi's visionary dream. When Gaudi took over the project in 1883, he wasn't just building a church. He was carving out a message in stone, one that would outlive him and perhaps all of us. Gaudi dedicated the last 15 years of his life solely to the Sagrada Família. But here's where things get heartbreaking. He never saw it completed. In 1926, Gaudi was tragically struck by a tram and passed away. At the time of his death, less than a quarter of the basilica had been completed. The only portion that was completed was the bell tower dedicated to the Apostle Barnabas. Today, his tomb lies beneath the very crypt of this basilica, a resting place beneath the towering spires he once dreamed of reaching the heavens. Gaudi's vision for the Sagrada Família was as ambitious as it was profound. The basilica has 3 grand facades, each telling a different chapter in the story of Christ's life. The Nativity facade, facing the rising sun, celebrates the birth of Christ with an intricate, organic design, each carving teeming with life. Trees, animals, and even the tiniest of flowers find their way into the stonework, reflecting Gaudi's deep connection with nature. On the opposite side, we have the Passion facade, a complete contrast. Darker, harsher, almost minimalist in its approach. This is the story of Christ's suffering and death, a somber reflection crafted by the modernist sculptor Josep Maria Subirachs. The difference in style is intentional, creating a visceral emotional journey for those who walk around the basilica. But Gaudi wasn't just about the facades. His design includes 18 towers, each with a symbolic meaning. 12 of them are dedicated to the apostles, 4 to the evangelists, Luke, Mark, Matthew, and John, 1 to the Virgin Mary, and the tallest of them all, soaring to a height of 172.5 meters, will honor Jesus Christ. That height is almost a quarter of Burj Khalifa's. By the time of making this video, the only tower that remained incomplete was the Tower of Jesus Christ, which is projected to be completed in 2026. At the time of its completion, the basilica will be the tallest church in the world. To make it interesting, Gaudi intentionally designed the basilica so that its tallest tower would be just shorter than Barcelona's Montjuic Hill. Why? Because no man-made structure, in Gaudi's eyes, should surpass God's natural creation. Humility, in every sense, was at the core of his work. Let us step inside, and you'll see that the Sagrada Família isn't just a basilica, it's like a forest. Gaudi's inspiration from nature is everywhere, especially in the towering columns that branch out like trees, holding up the ceiling as though it were the canopy of a great woodland. The light inside changes throughout the day. The stained glass windows, strategically placed, flood the interior with vibrant colors, casting a soft glow across the stonework. It's almost like stepping into a living, breathing organism. And that was Gaudi's intention. He wanted the light to be an architectural feature and a spiritual experience. However, Gaudi's masterpiece didn't come without challenges. The Spanish Civil War in 1936 dealt a devastating blow to the Basilica. Many of Gaudi's original models and plans were destroyed by fire. What we see today is, in part, a modern interpretation of Gaudi's vision, pieced together from surviving fragments and the brilliance of architects who have since taken over the project. Modern technology has stepped in to help bring this unfinished masterpiece closer to completion. Computer-aided design, CAD, and 3D printing have allowed architects to accelerate construction without sacrificing Gaudi's meticulous attention to detail. One of the most remarkable facts about the Sagrada Família is that it has been funded entirely by private donations. No government grants, no big corporations, just the contributions of millions of visitors who come from around the world, drawn by the sheer wonder of it all. For that reason, the Basilica is also called the Cathedral of the Poor by the people of Barcelona. And it's easy to see why. The Sagrada Família is more than a tourist destination. It's a place of worship, a cultural treasure, and an ongoing testament to the power of faith, art, and human determination. As we stand on the edge of the future, with the central tower set to be completed by 2026, the Basilica continues to grow, a living symbol of a city, a culture, and a man's extraordinary vision. Perhaps that's what makes the Sagrada Família so endlessly captivating. It's never really finished. Much like faith, much like life itself, it's a work in progress, constantly evolving, reaching for the sky. If the story of the Sagrada Família inspires you, consider supporting us by clicking the like and the subscribe button and joining us as we explore more wonders of the world.